All right. Okay. I hope you're all having a nice day. Today, I'm going to go over some more of the things that make Yatagarasu a unique game. Some of the things that you'll need to know if you want to play it on a competent level. So I'll be taking the next 10-15 minutes just going over, going over some stuff. In the last video, I went over the bare bones basics of the game, 6-button fighter, punches, kicks, here's your meters, here's all that stuff. And I want to go into a few more of the mechanics of the game. This will be the first of 2 different mechanics videos. Okay? Alright, where were we? They talk to each other. Alrighty. So, I did want to cover, the first thing I wanted to cover in this video is ukemis. Ukemi, another way to think of it is, wake up options. What you can do if you get knocked down. So let's say I knock you down with some sort of move in Yatagarasu. There are 3 different ways that you can wake up from the ground, besides reversals, of course. There are 3 things that you can do when you hit the ground. Okay? One of them... Oh, be quiet, phone. One of them is a quick rise, and that's what the dummy was doing. Whoop, I'm already set to automatically parry. There we go. And to quick rise from a knockdown, all you have to do is hit any punch button when you hit the ground. Okay? You can mash the button if you want to. You don't need to have super precise timing. Just hit any punch button just before you hit the ground and you will quick rise. Okay? Another thing you can do, if you hit any kick button, okay, as you hit the ground, you will delay your wake up. I want you to notice here I press nothing. 0, 1. Takes about a second to get up. And now I'm going to delay my wake up. Okay? So, as you can see, this is what happens if you press nothing. This is what happens if you press a kick. So this game has a quick rise and a delayed wake up, allowing you 3 different wake up timings anytime you're hit with something that gives a knockdown. And I should say that's a soft knockdown. Similar to, say, Street Fighter 4 and similar games, there are both soft knockdowns and hard knockdowns. And most of the knockdowns in the game are soft knockdowns, meaning that you can use both the quick rise and the delayed wake up option if you choose. However, there is one exception to this rule. When you sweep someone, which for the Sword Girls is accomplished with down forward and hard punch, and for everyone else it's down forward and hard kick. Sweep is a command normal in this game. If you sweep someone, you can quick rise, but you cannot do a delayed wake up. Okay, I'm going to try to delay my wake up here, and you'll notice I actually can't do it when if I hit a kick button when I press the ground. However, I can quick rise off of a sweep. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. When you do get sweeped, you can quick rise, but you cannot do a delayed wake up. Okay, so that basically explains the ukemi system. Another thing I wanted to get into is throws. Like most 2D fighters, throwing is how you would do damage to someone that is blocking a lot. You can throw someone while they're blocking. Throws are accomplished by pressing light punch plus light kick, just like third strike. You have to be standing to actually input an actual throw. Okay. And a throw in this game has 3 frames of startup. If you're not familiar with frame data, all you really need to know is that throws are pretty fast to come out. Okay. Now, as far as breaking throws is concerned, you can break a throw by, just like other games, inputting your own throw just as you get thrown. It doesn't matter if you're holding forward or back. All that matters is that you press the throw buttons just as you get thrown. Okay? Now, there's also something to notice here. When you actually break a throw, there are 2 separate timings where you can break a throw. If you break a throw at about the same time as the aggressor throws you, then you both recover at the same time. Notice that they split apart on their feet. Okay? And when you break a throw at this timing, you both recover at the same time. However, you can tech a throw a little bit later in the window. The entire window lasts about 9 frames. Which is not a whole lot of time, but the idea is if you do tech a throw and you're a little bit late, if you're not on the first part of that throw break window, then you backflip in the air and the aggressor actually recovers before you do. Okay? Just to illustrate, I'm going to set the dummy. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let me do it this way here. Let me set the dummy to throw break. Auto throw escape, late. Okay. I want you to notice here that when I throw the dummy and they late escape, I can actually force them to actually, you know, deal with an attack right when they land. If your opponent likes to basically tech the throws as late as possible, that gives you the opportunity to continue your offense. Okay? So that helps you maintain your offense if they're not actually properly breaking your throws as soon as possible. Oops. You could even dash forward and continue your offense that way. So if your opponent is bad at taking throws and they don't take it soon enough, then you can maintain your offensive advantage even though they take no damage. So that's something that's important to know on the throw system. Okay. Also, if you are familiar with Street Fighter 4, you'll know that you can tech a throw standing in Street Fighter 4, but you can also tech a throw crouching. In this game, that is true. You can tech a throw while crouching. Okay. If you are holding down or down back throw with the exact same input. Okay. What you need to know is that if you do input this and your opponent does not actually input a throw, you get a crouching light punch. Okay, and the crouching light punch will come out, meaning that you might be hit because you're not guarding if you do that. An interesting thing to note... That's not what I wanted to do. An interesting thing to note is that every single character's crouching light punch in the game can be parried both high and low. Come on. There, let me get the timing on this right. Is that one? Is that one? You know, I'm a little early on that one. There we go. This should do it. That's a low parry. That's a high parry. So the thing is, if your opponent likes to do crouching throw techs, you could input any parry, and you would parry their crouching light punch, and then you could probably easily destroy them for doing such a thing. Not to mention, if they do input a crouching throw tech, that means that a low jab is going to come out, and you could hit them in their face because they're not guarding. It absolutely does not shut down a lot of the offensive options like it does in Street Fighter 4, because the parry enables you a universal counter to the thing. Okay? And again, I just want to reiterate, every single character's crouching light punch can be parried both low and high. So that makes crouch tech a rather weak defensive option in general, because everyone can very easily blow it up. But it is still something that you need to know about. Now, let's get back to the center of the stage. Alright, so another thing that you'll want to know about this game, and another thing that is very similar to, say, from Third Strike, is the universal overhead. Universal overhead is accomplished in this game by pressing both punches. Okay? It's called universal because every character in the game can do it. Doesn't matter which character you are. Doesn't matter which character you are, inputting both punches gives you the universal overhead. Okay? Now, it's called an overhead because you do have to block it high. If you're blocking low, you do get hit. And this is another interesting thing about this game. Okay? When it comes to universal overheads, if, let me pick the same character just so I can illustrate this. And also, this is a handy-dandy thing with the training mode. Let's see, custom trigger, guard, custom action 1, jump. Okay. So right now, the dummy is set so that after they guard an attack, they immediately jump. Okay? And the reason that I set them to this is because I want to show you that if you use an universal overhead on a standing opponent, you both recover at the same time on block. Okay? These are both the same character, and they're both jumping immediately as soon as they can. Okay, so when it comes to the universal overhead, unless you space it perfectly somewhere near the tip, that's like the only situation where you're going to get frame advantage off of it. If you use it close to your opponent and they're standing and they actually block it, you will both recover at the same time. But it's not just on block either. It is also true that you both recover at the same time on hit as well. Okay? I've set the dummy to do a universal overhead and then jump immediately. I'm getting hit by this universal overhead, and yet it grants no advantage. So if you're familiar with fighting games, this universal overhead, if your opponent actually blocks it or is hit by it standing, unless you make it absolutely perfect at the tip, you're not going to be getting anything off of it. This is going to cause a neutral situation where both characters recover at the same time, whether it hits or whether it was blocked. Okay? Now, if your opponent is crouching, let me set the dummy to guard everything that's... See, this is one hit after. That one hit after is this game's auto guard. Okay? And I'm going to set him to crouch. So right now, he'll get hit by one attack, and then he will immediately start guarding. And using this mode, you can test, you know, for combos that are possible. If you do a universal overhead on a crouching opponent, every single character in the game can combo off of it. I want to reiterate that. If you universal overhead a crouching opponent and it hits in this game, every character in the game can get a combo. I tried to be flashy. Alright. Okay? Everybody gets a combo. If your opponent's crouching too much and you universal overhead them, bam. You can screw them up for it. Okay? So, that is another thing that makes this game feel a bit more offensive than Third Strike. All universal overheads grant combos if your opponent is crouching. This is for every character in the game. Now, there is one exception to this rule. Actually, there's two exceptions. Those two exceptions are Hina and Shimo, the samurai girls. The samurai girls can also combo off of a universal overhead if they are crouched, if they hit a crouching opponent. Okay, if your opponent is crouching, they still get combos, both of them. However, they are an exception to the rule in the sense that they are the only characters in the game that can also combo off of a universal overhead while standing. There's, right there, a 3-hit combo. There we go. It's a bit tough. It's a difficult link for both of them, but the point is, with Hina and Shimo, if you land a universal overhead at any time, you absolutely can combo off of that. Come on, let's go. Boom. Okay. And with Shimo, Shimo's is not quite as good as Hina's. Oh, missed it. But Shimo can link into her crouching light punch right there. There it is, do a combo. So I'm missing the combo right now. You'll just have to trust me. But Shimo can link a crouching light punch if she lands a universal overhead on a standing opponent, and Hina can land a crouching light kick and go into a full combo. Okay? But these two girls can combo on a universal overhead anytime, For the other 6 characters, if you universal overhead any crouching character, you can get a combo. Okay, so it makes universal overheads a bit more useful in this game than they were in Third Strike. In Third Strike, you would have to space it perfect, or it would have to be meaty, otherwise you wouldn't use it too much. In this game, if you're up in your opponent's face and you think they're going to be crouching, it's absolutely useful to throw into your offense at any time, assuming you know the combo afterwards. Okay, a couple more topics to cover. Big one, I'm going to turn on Guard Clash. What this option does is, if your opponent is blocking, and right now they're not, there we go. By turning on the Guard Clash, the guard meter, Shimo's guard meter here, just underneath her life bar is going down. You remember I talked about guard breaks in the first video. There is one more universal technique. Throws are both lights. Universal overhead is both punches. If you press both hard punch and hard kick, you get a little shadow over your character. And this looks like her hard punch, except it starts up a little bit slower. And it also has a very long recovery on it. I'm gonna hold up as I do this. There's a very long recovery on this. This is you could think of it like a KOF CD, although that's not really what it is, because you can't do it in the air. You can only do this on the ground. What this attack does is, if your opponent blocks it, it is a one-hit instant guard break. And for almost every character in the game, if you do this and your opponent blocks this and they get guard broken... Oh, looks like the kick super's too slow. See, hers is too slow, but that'll work with Shimo. So with Hina, she has to do the other super. If your opponent guards this, pretty much every character in the game has a special move or an EX special move or a super that can immediately combo afterwards, but it has to be that. If you are right in your opponent's face, you might be able to combo a normal and then go into something else, but it's very slow on startup, so it's unlikely you'll be able to you'll get much of a chance to do that. But if you're right in their face, you could just do a nice combo off of that, but you need to be right up in their face. If you use it at range, most of your normals are not going to combo, at least under normal circumstances. Okay, so as you can see, I'm having some trouble comboing off of this with just normals. Can't even hard punch it anymore. There you go. There we go. So, as you can see, this is very space dependent. This is very space dependent, but if you actually get this to be blocked, your character will usually have some sort of EX move or super or something that you can use to capitalize off of it. You can't really capitalize on it with anything else unless you are much, much closer. Now, if this hits, it's just about the same as a hard punch. It's not really very interesting if it actually does hit. Turn off the guard. Okay. As you can see here, Hina's hard kick does 5,500 damage. Hina's hard punch does 6,400 damage, and the universal guard break, or UGB, does about 6,000 damage. So it's not really that outstanding in the damage department. If it hits, it basically just hits as hard as a hard punch or a hard kick. But if they guard this, you blow them up, you can combo something, usually, if you have meter, or some characters can combo off of it meterlessly, such as Crow and Co. They can combo their quarterback kicks. Okay, so universal guard break is a very important thing to keep in mind. I have two more things I want to cover in this video. The first one is a T word some people don't like. It's called trip guard. Let's see here. So, if you're familiar with the concept of trip guard is a property that you have or do not have when you are in the air in a two-dimensional fighting game, okay? So here's the idea. In some fighting games, if you jump and you hold down back, you can block an attack immediately the frame that you actually touch the ground. And in this game, that is true, okay? In King of Fighters or some other games, that is not true. If you're in the air and I stick this attack out and you land on it, you cannot block that. So we say that you do not have trip guard. In this game, if you jump and you do not hit any buttons in the air, in other words, if you empty jump and you do nothing, then you can block immediately the frame that you touch the ground. That's no problem. You can block. You can also parry the frame you hit the ground if you choose to do so. However, if you hit a button while you're in the air, and then you hold down back as you land, you cannot block when you land. And you have to eat the attack if they actually space this right. Okay? So, if you are familiar with the trip guard system of, say, Street Fighter 4, it is more or less exactly the same. I do not know exactly how long you lose trip guard if you do hit a button in the air. It might be somewhere from, say, 3 to 7 or 8 frames. I don't know that exact number, but I'm certain that someone that is a bit more scientific and test-happy than I am will probably find that out in the near future or when Attack on Cataclysm comes out. All that you need to know is that if you hit a button in the air, you are not safe when you come down. Okay? And the last thing I wanted to cover in this video is the corner. The corner in this game is a bit different than it is in other 2D fighters. Okay? Let's see. Give me a cross-up. Jumping light kick crosses up, right? There we go. You know what, I can make this a lot easier. Okay. If you are not familiar with 2D fighters, there is something called a cross-up, which is, you know, naturally you have to hold back to guard an attack, and if they jump over your head and do a jumping attack that is spaced right, some jumping attacks have a property where it can hit you in the back of the neck, and you have to guard in the other direction. So, for example, right now, Crow is going to jump over Ko's head, and in order for Ko to actually block this, Ko has to be holding left at this moment in time. You have to block in the opposite direction of what you think if they hit you in the back of the head like this. Now, cross-ups are important regarding the corner, and this is something that's unique to this game, okay? In this game, if your opponent is cornered and you jump over their head, you will trade places with them. In some fighting games, like, say, KOF or Street Fighter 2, if you jump towards someone in the corner, they're still in the corner, and you're not really swapping places with them. If you're familiar with Street Fighter 4, this will look very familiar. Okay, I can jump over someone's head while they're in the corner. What makes this game different, however, I'm going to record the dummy to do something here, is that if you do a cross-up attack, but your opponent is cornered, they do not have to block it the other direction. Okay? I want to reiterate this. If I'm standing here, and I'm holding left, hold on. If I'm standing here and I'm holding left, I am not going to guard this. If I'm standing here and I'm holding right, I'm not going to guard this. Holding left, I missed the guard. Holding right, I missed the guard. But in the corner, you do not have to switch your guard. They will still swap positions with you if they attempt a cross-up in the corner, but the attack itself will not actually cross up. As far as my personal testing has found, as far as I can tell, so far in the game, and if I'm wrong on this, please correct me, jumping attacks cannot actually cross you up in the corner. If you just hold left into the left corner, or if you hold right into the right corner, and they attempt to cross up, the attack itself will not cross up. They will still swap positions with you, but you do not have to alter your guard. Okay? I like this decision because it makes less ambiguous scenarios in the corner. I do not think the corner is a good spot to be having ambiguous scenarios. I think that should stick to the mid-screen. And I think that if your opponent is cornered, you have plenty of advantages to where you do not need to worry about ambiguous jumping mix-ups in the corner. And so I like this decision from a design standpoint. But I just wanted to go over that that's what happens in the corner. And with that, I've covered pretty much everything I want to cover in this video. This one was a bit longer. This one was about 20 minutes, 23 minutes or so. But this is about half of the mechanics that I wanted to cover in this game. I still have a handful more mechanics that I want to show to you guys. There's still plenty more to Yatagarasu that I want to explain. I want to do another video on the mechanics that I have yet to explain. And then the fourth video is going to be all about parries. which this game calls button locking. Button locking parries, the game uses them interchangeably. But the fourth video will be all about parries and how to take advantage of someone that parries too much and things like that. And then from the fifth video on, I will go into character-specific videos if there is more you'd like to see on a one-by-one character basis. So that's just about it. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you'd like more information on the current version or the upcoming version of Yatagarasu, please check the links in the more info section of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.